Hey there friends, what's going on? It's Codiak and Livid back for another Fall Guys video, and today we're talking about minigames, specifically the Seesaws minigame. And Livid's here to answer some of the most important questions if you're struggling with this particular minigame. So Livid, let's kick it off with a simple one. What is Seesaws?
The Seesaws at its base foundation is just a simple obstacle course. Obstacle courses are pretty prevalent in Fall Guys, and I expect to see a lot more of these going forward in the game. But in essence, it's just a series of platforms that move up and down in a certain direction based on the amount of weight placed on those sides. So the whole objective of the game is get from point A to point B while making sure you do not fall off the seesaws as they're teetering back and forth. That's the whole basis of that minigame.
So we've seen a lot of memes, a lot of jokes on Twitter and Reddit, things like that, because this is a more challenging minigame. What are some of the most common mistakes people are making across the board when it comes to Seesaws?
So the number one most common mistake that I've seen players make across the board in general is when the seesaw is starting to really angle itself downwards, like more so than just a little bit of a teeter, like more of an incline. You do not want to jump from one to another to get on that incline. By jumping, you will lose almost all of your balance and often result in falling directly off. And that's one of the biggest things that gets people to constantly fall and fall and fall, because when there's enough people, just clustered around one point, sometimes the seesaws will remain almost at that 90-degree incline. And that's the biggest thing. People just keep jumping and it just becomes an endless falling loop. And that's what gets people trapped up. So that's probably the biggest one. And then the other biggest problem that people seem to run into is they'll sit too long in big clumps of people waiting for a seesaw to come down when they can simply backtrack a little bit and get on the other side when that platform is stuck up there. And that'll often give you a bit of time to get across. Another way to counteract that is you can also jump off the edge at that area if you already hit a checkpoint, and you can sometimes be teleported to that other side to get a little bit of a head start.
All right, so it's pretty clear when you're playing Seesaws and you're seeing these masses of people in the back, and then there's always a few really good players out in front. How are they doing that? What are some of those better players doing to get that advantage in this minigame?
Sadly, sometimes it is about luck. The people that do start in the front, I think, do have an inherent advantage to getting through the map faster, because they can generally, if you time all your jumps correctly, since you're at the start of the pack, you're putting the least amount of weight on that platform on each consecutive one. So you're not really causing it to teeter that much, or you have more control over that teeter-totter going to where you want it to go, right? To be able to get across these platforms. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Like those pack leaders out in front, they have no problem getting through because they don't really have that much resistance. For the people in the back that really have to struggle to get through, the better players often wait for the seesaw to get more weighted to a certain direction to know that they need to counteract the weight, and they don't jump on these platforms. When you're on the platforms, never jump. If you jump, once again, you will lose your balance entirely and you will fall off, and you're just going to go right back to where you started. So the really advanced players really know that, if you walk off the edge of a seesaw onto the other seesaw, if it's not like almost a full 90-degree incline, you will often just be able to just keep walking. It doesn't really throw you off balance. So you want to make sure that you're not jumping where you don't need to. The only time you really should jump is to save yourself to get onto that checkpoint or get onto one that's still relatively flat, but you might have missed the jump if you didn't do it otherwise.
All right, so obviously there's no replacement for actually practicing doing the Seesaws minigame, but if people could take away one tip, one idea from this video, what is it?
I think the biggest tip to take away from this is people shouldn't be jumping that much onto the seesaws. Jumping is the number one thing that causes you to lose your balance, as I mentioned before, and will often put you far behind if you're constantly trying to jump on these, either to get onto them or while you're on them. So usually just stepping off, like I said, onto that seesaw will give you a much bigger advantage in getting your momentum climbing up there. As soon as you jump, you lose all your momentum and it starts pulling you back in that other direction.
All right, guys, there are some quick tips and tricks for getting through the Seesaws minigame in Fall Guys. If you like this video and you want more Fall Guys content in your feed, don't forget to like and subscribe to Legion Gaming. As always, folks, my name is Codiak, that's been Livid, and play on.